Football for the North London derby. It's the biggest game in the Premier League this weekend, and we're all ready for it, aren't we? Absolutely ready for it. What a prospect. There's not that many games, I suppose, left that are going to be full of excitement and buzz. Look, Liverpool against Spurs next Sunday is really going to be about whether Spurs are in the top four race, not Liverpool in a title race. So we're starting to run out of these games now, and what bigger game than a North London derby? They're always big games anyway, but the enormity of it for both sides is absolutely massive. If you look at the league table, we'll get that up on the screen for you. We don't need the stats. We're not kicked off yet. Let's have a look at the table, which amazingly we do have, which is great. Yeah, so there it looks. The table at the moment looks like that. Arsenal obviously top, ahead of Manchester City, but they have got a game in hand, Manchester City, and they are playing Forest today. So I still think Manchester City are massive favourites for this, but Arsenal can't afford to slip up again. They've basically got to win every single game and hope that Man City slip up, which I don't think they will. We're in London, aren't we? Says Andrew. Well, we are. As for Tottenham, good result for them last night. Could have been even better. Chelsea so close to winning it at the end. I'm still absolutely nailed on that it was a foul. But they have got 3 games in hand on Aston Villa. If they were to win those 3 or draw 2 and win 2, they'd probably they'd be level, and their goal difference would have gone up a little bit as well. So the race for 4th place is still up for grabs. It's an enormous game for Spurs as well. Prediction Bridge says FVR. I actually think that this game is incredibly difficult to predict, and as I said last night, I've not changed my mind this morning. I really do think it comes down to how the first 10 minutes pans out, because it's a derby. I mean, naturally, if there was no North London connection, I'd say that Arsenal, the way they're playing at the moment, are a good favourite to win it. But the North London derby element, as we saw with Everton and Liverpool last week, can be a huge thing. Let's have a look at the teams, though. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Davies, Højbjerg, Bentancur and Maddison, Kulusevski, Werner and Son. I mean, I don't think that's Spurs' strongest team. Maybe Spurs people would tell me differently. Obviously, Udogi's not there. Basuma and Sarr are on the bench. They did so well before Christmas, so it's not like they're injured. He's gone for Højbjerg and Bentancur deliberately. Front 3 of Werner, Son, Kulusevski. He really likes Werner, doesn't he? He really does like Werner, because he could have put Richarlison in there or Johnson in there. So they've got options off the bench, but that's the team he's gone with. And apart from Udogi, you'd say that is pretty much their best 11 that he's selecting for this game, whether you think it or not. As for Arsenal, well, Arsenal look like this. They've gone with a team that I think, as a Man United fan, I'm sure Chelsea fans feel the same, Newcastle fans, etc. Arsenal have been relatively unscathed by injuries this season in relation to some of the enormous injury lists that other clubs have had. We know that Timber's been out all season, but predominantly Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Odegaard, Saka have been available all season, Ben White, and that's been a massive thing for them, because I think, you know, I look at United or Liverpool last year when they were out without Van Dijk, and you look at United without Shaw and Martinez. Imagine Arsenal without Saliba and Gabriel this season. I don't think it's the same story. So they'll be really hoping they can win this and somehow get over the line with the title. But Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Partey, Rice, I think that's the right decision. I'm really pleased that he's not gone with Odegaard and Havertz in the midfield. Saka, Havertz and Trossard. Again, strong team, strong bench. Jesus, Martinelli, Jorginho, Zinchenko. They've got options on the bench, both sides. So obviously it's a 90-minute game, but I think second half substitutions really could be big as well. But no, I can't really give you a predict. I don't think a draw helps either team. That's what I will say. I don't think a draw will be beneficial to either side. Obviously, they're going to take it over a loss. Absolutely, they're going to take it over a loss. But they need a win. Both teams need to win, don't they? A draw for Arsenal really gives the title to Man City, and a draw for Spurs really gives the initiative to Villa, although not terribly, because they're 7 points behind Villa with 3 games in hand. So if they won their other 2 games in hand, they'd actually be level. But Let's not forget, one of Spurs' away games in hand is away to Chelsea on Thursday night, which we'll be covering on here. Yeah. Let's just get this tweet out, which I'd completely forgotten about. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Get involved with That's Football. You're all very welcome. Lots to talk about as well. And again, my calf is throbbing there. Who do you want to win, Mark? Ooh. I mean, I know a lot of United fans want Arsenal to win because they want Man City not to win the league. I get that. But I genuinely think Man City are going to win the league anyway. So, and Man United have got to play Arsenal in a couple of weeks. So, we need to win that. So, I probably want Arsenal to win it because I'd like them to win the league, but I don't think they are going to win the league, and I want United to beat Arsenal in 2 weeks' time. So I wouldn't say I'd be devastated if Arsenal lost and Spurs won. I think it'd be good for the top four race if Spurs win. But I think City are going to win this league anyway. I think it's nailed on. So what I will say is Arsenal, if they win this game and they win every game and they lose it to City, I don't know what more they could have done. I really don't know what more Arsenal could have done this season. I think they've been incredible since Christmas. And if they were to win their last, well, how many games have they got left? Let me have a look. They've got, so Arsenal, there we go. They've got 4 games left. So if they win their next 4 games and go to 89 points, I don't know what more they could have done this season and not win the league with 89 points. And I know Liverpool didn't win it with 98 once, but this has been a very, competitive league, and Man City have dropped a few points this year. So if Arsenal don't win it with 89 points, I don't know what more they could have done. And look at their goal difference. I just think if Arsenal can win their final 4, and that's not set in stone even today, and they still don't win the league, I think it's just an indication of the power of Manchester City. They're just too strong. They're too strong. Liverpool 97 says, I hope the referees don't get involved today. Rub says, I want both teams to lose. Thank you very much. They should have had a go at City when they parked the bus at the Etihad. Yeah, but you know what, Devils? They beat them at the Emirates and they took a point at them against the Etihad. 4 points from 6 over Man City is very, very good. If Arsenal lose this title by what will probably be 2 points, where would you look at the season? I don't think you can. If Arsenal get to around 89 points, I don't think they can look at the season with any regrets. I really don't. And I know that's a big if, but how many points did Arsenal get last season? I don't remember, if anyone knows. But, I mean, look, you could be harsh and say the Villa game, but I think they've won so many good games away from home this season already. You're going to drop points. I think Arsenal's season has been very, very good. They lost to Fulham and West Ham. Yeah, maybe there. So they got 84 last year. Hi, Mark. Any Arsenal Tottenham players you would go after to sign for Man United that are realistic? Says Dominic. Well, none of them are realistic. There's no players that United are going to be able to sign from Spurs or Arsenal because Spurs and Arsenal are in a better position. But players I'd take from Arsenal and Spurs, well, I take a lot. I take a lot from Arsenal. I'd take Ben White over Wan-Bissaka. I'd take Saliba and Gabriel over what we've got at the moment. I'd take Rice and Odegaard over what we've got at the moment. And I'd take Saka and Martinelli. I would. From Spurs, I'd take Raya over Onana as well, if I'm being honest. Spurs, I'd take Vicario over Onana. I would take Van de Ven. I think Romero would probably do a good job as well, if I'm being honest. Pedro Porro is better than anything we've got at right back at the moment. Midfield, probably take quite a few of their midfielders. I'd definitely take Bentancur. I'd take Bissouma. I'd take Sarr. I'd take Maddison. I probably wouldn't be that bothered about Højbjerg, if I'm being honest. From their front 3, definitely Son. I like Kulusevski. I wouldn't be massively interested in Brennan Johnson and Werner and Richarlison, although Richarlison as an alternative to Rasmus would be interesting as well. So I'd take a lot. Of course I would. And that's the way it should be. I'd take Udogie, yeah, I would. I wouldn't take any of Arsenal's left back. I would take Timber, based on one game. I'd take Timber. But that's the way it should be. Arsenal are a long way ahead of Manchester United. And I guarantee if you spoke to a Newcastle fan, they'd say the same. If you spoke to a Chelsea fan, they'd say the same. Chelsea, Man United and Newcastle are in a very similar situation this season where we wanted better. And for various reasons, it hasn't come to pass, has it? But I'm interested. Look, I was talking about this last night, wasn't I, about Liverpool and next season with their new manager, and I think Liverpool are going to be a really interesting team to observe next season. But I also think Spurs will be as well. I think Spurs have got a good squad, and if you add to that squad, then they'll be a good team next year. Of course, the ramifications of playing in the Champions League is going to be impacted if they're in it. Or the Europa League. They'll be in one of them. But I think Spurs will be a very interesting club next year. Good question, Dominic. Thank you very much for that. Any thoughts on the officiating this weekend? Well, I struggle with it a bit. I watched Man United yesterday and I did a match reaction of it. I mean, I'm looking forward to the podcast. I've got so much I want to say on the podcast tomorrow, which will be going out tomorrow night at 5 on Spotify, Goldbridge Saves Football. Brilliant episode last week about Forest's tweet. Got lots to say this week. Some really big topics that I think need to be discussed. Front and foremost, the 3 p.m. blackout. I think something needs to be done about that. But there's a direct bad side of that as well, as I saw with Match of the Day this morning. Horrendous. But I think in relation to the officiating this weekend, I was so pissed off that it happened in a United game, because if it happens in a United game, people are just going to go, well, he supports United. But I was disgusted with that John Brooks yesterday and the VAR. I don't know who was on VAR. Just disgusted with it. And I hope, for Arsenal and Spurs fans' sake, and everyone who's going to look forward to this game, I really hope we don't get a big decision that's wrong. But I guarantee you the chances of it are going to be very high. And the reason it's going to be very high, basically, I have a bit of an algorithm now, where I go into a Premier League match and I accept there is more than 50%, probably 60% chance that you're going to get a controversial VAR decision. And I think some people think when they watch a game, the chances of a bad VAR decision are low. They're actually really high, because as soon as you get a handball in the box or a red card tackle, you know you're going to get done. And how many games get a handball in the box or a red card decision? Quite a lot. So as soon as... Look, I saw tackles yesterday in the Man United game. Anthony went through on a Burnley player. Burnley went through on on Garnacho. At the start of the season, they were red cards. And now, I don't know what a red card is anymore. I really don't. And as for ball hitting hand, fuck knows. And as for tackles in the box, no idea. So unless we're going to have a game where there's no potential penalty or no potential red card, I reckon something will happen in this game. And I don't think people have worked that out yet. Every game is likely to get screwed by the PGMOL and VAR, because every game is likely to have something in the penalty box or a red card potential tackle. So we need to wake up here. Like, I think some people think, oh, let's hope we don't get one today. The chances are we will. We definitely will. Because they've made it so bad, we don't know what a red card is. We don't know what a handball is. We don't know what a foul in the box is. So I guarantee you something will go on today, because they've absolutely messed it up. No one's got a bloody clue what it is. I have sympathy with Chelsea fans last night. They were fuming about that goal that wasn't given at the end. And I categorically think it's a foul. But as somebody said in the chat last night, how's that any different to the Newcastle foul on the back of Gabriel that all the ex-players told us wasn't a foul? Well, exactly. They're exactly the same. I think they're both a foul. But the Premier League and the PGMOL, they think one's a foul and one's not. And that's the problem, is it? There's just zero consistency. Come on, you Gunners, please win and do a miracle, Forest, says Liverpool 97. Look, Forest are playing for their lives, but they're not going to beat Man City. They're not. I mean, that would be... They got a draw against them last season, I think, but I just can't see it today. I really can't. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner, get involved with That's Football. We've got lots of watch-alongs for you this week, actually. It's another busy week. We've got the Champions League on Tuesday. What a game. Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. We've got Wednesday, PSG Dortmund. I don't know who's going to come through out of that. Thursday night, we've got Premier League football. Spurs against Chelsea at Chelsea. And then we're back into almost another weekend, aren't we? We're getting to a really exciting time, actually. You know, we're getting to the business end of all the tournaments and the leagues. But we're also, I was thinking last night, the Euros ain't that far off. Like, it's about 6-7 weeks, isn't it? So the Euros are coming fast as well. So lots of excitement, and a summer transfer window, which I think a lot of people quite like as well. So yeah, loads to get into. I hadn't forgotten, we're sponsored by Manscaped on the show today. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Use the code FOOTY and you'll get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with that code there. Scan that QR code on your camera phone or go through the link in the description. What is Manscaped? Well, it's Star Striker really is the lawnmower. Now, this operates at your midriff, you know, where all the fun happens. And basically, fantastic bit of kit. It's got a light on it, very powerful. I mean, you could do it in a cupboard if you wanted to, because the light will just shine around there. I mean, like, I'm doing that now, and this is a well-lit room, and my groin is lit up. So 20% off with the code FOOTY, free delivery. Fantastic product, a real game changer, and the only accompaniment you need in your midfield, really. It's tenacious, and but in a good way. It will trim the grass and make the yard look bigger. Fantastic. Also, other products. You've got the weed whacker for up your nose. You've got the beard trimmer, which I used yesterday on a 0.5, but it's got lots of different lengths. That's absolutely fantastic. And if you like to be clean shaven, they've got the handyman, which you can just take round you. That's fully charged. And don't get excited, ladies. Very, very, very powerful. And I just use it to trim around the neck and the face, just to give it a nice, you know, clean up. But you could just go the whole hog and go clean shaven. Fantastic products with Manscaped, delivered to your door, 20% off with the code FOOTY. They really are top quality. I've told this story before. I bought a nasal hair trimmer about 10 years ago from a well-known high street pharmacy. Halfway through the job, the battery ran out. Right on a big hair. I was walking around like this for about an hour because I couldn't get a pair of scissors up there to cut round it. Because if you think about it, you've got to go up and round. It's impossible. It was right up my nose. Now, Mrs. Goldbridge said, you're just going to have to pull it. And I said, look, I know you've had 2 kids, but there's nothing more painful than pulling a nasal hair out. She had no sympathy. I had to go and sit in another room because she was going to pull it. The only thing I wouldn't let her pull. But the reality is the battery ran out while I was doing it. It won't run out with one of these because it's got a flashy little thing on it which will start flashing. Never use a nasal hair trimmer when it's low on battery. You do not want it to stop halfway through the job. It's painful. Check them out, Manscaped. Brilliant products, top quality. Links in the description or scan the QR code, 20% off. Johan says, I pull nose hair with my fingers. Oh, you're mad. You're mad. I'm not giving a score prediction on this one, but we are only 3 minutes away from the start of the game. I'm very excited about it. I hope you are as well. I think we're in for a really, really, really interesting game. I don't know how this game doesn't deliver in one way, shape or form. Even if it is controversy, it's just the best North London derby I can remember for a long, long, long time. So I'm really excited about it. This is why I love football. This is why I love football. This is what it's all about. Just watching a game of football. It's not even my team. And look, I really hope we get a good game. I really, really do. It's season defining for Arsenal. They can't afford not to win. For Spurs, they can't afford to lose, really. Rahul says, isn't it interesting that Adam called you a Forest fan in a recent vlog? Mate, I've known that guy for years, and he wouldn't say boo to a goose in real life. So people get very brave when they're on a camera. I just see it as an act. It's like an episode of Hollyoaks. It's whatever. I'm not interested in all that sort of stuff. I suppose they need me to get views, don't they? That's all I can think of. Mark, read my Manscaped super chats joke, says Rub. Trim the Jacksons to make Chelsea look bigger. Yeah, you built that up. I'll leave that out there to be judged and say no words. Come on, you Gunners, please win, says Liverpool 97. Thank you very much. Marcus Stevenson, thank you very much for joining the Members Club. Nice to see a few badgers in here. Love that. Love that. There was a, I mean, this is a long time ago, but I went to an awards show. If you remember the Football Blog Awards, I used to do them years ago. I don't bother anymore. And there was this Man United YouTuber, we're talking about 6 years ago, who'd been slagging me off on videos. And I'm at this awards show, just come to the toilet. I'd just gone to the toilet, and as I walked out, they were walking towards me. They turned around. Like, you had to go downstairs and down an alleyway to go to the toilet. And they turned around, so they hadn't took a wrong turning. Anyway, I caught up with them and went, all right, mate, how's it doing? Oh, yeah, you're all right, Mark. Yeah, I said, yeah, I'm fine. Anything you want to say? No, just have a good night, mate. Just like... Look, I'm not a violent person. I'm not into that. But I just think if, you know... And I wasn't looking for that. I just wanted to see if they were going to say it face to face, and they didn't. And that's the problem with social media, isn't it? There's 3 people on top of the stadium with flags. I think it might be you two. I hope it's not you two. They're too old to be up there. I don't know what they're doing up there. Jay says, do a Belfast show. It would be a sellout. I really want to come. I want to go. I've been to Belfast before, but I want to go to Belfast. Ange is going for a shake with Arteta. Arteta's taking him back to... Come and sit with me. Imagine if 2 managers sit together. I'd love that. Right. Let's get ready to go here. We're buzzing, aren't we? We're in a good mood. And we're up and running as well. The clock strikes 1 second. People who have to direct others to their super chat jokes are the same people who still use like a boss memes, says Robbo96. Hey, come on. Let's be friendly. Bit of bounce. Come on. Right, we're up and running here. I'm going to give you my score prediction after 10 minutes. I never normally do that, but I find it, I'm going to be honest, I'm finding it very difficult to give a score prediction on this game. I know people say that's cowardly, but I never do it. It's just that it's because it's a North London derby. I just find it. I've got to see a few minutes of it to see what happens. You know the rules. Into the box, Arsenal. It's got to be physical. They've both got to make it physical. Oh my God. How can... This can't be Michael Oliver refereeing this game. This is bad news for Arsenal. Is it Michael Oliver, the ref? It is. OMG. That is terrifying. I mean, that's the PGMOL all over for you, isn't it? They just don't give a shit. I mean, all the stuff associated with him and Man City, and you give him this game. Unbelievable. Look, I'm not going to say anything. I just think he's a bad referee. Some people think far more worse things beginning with C. And I don't mean the word that rhymes with bunt. I mean, like, it's got 6 letters in it. It's got a double R in the middle. Do you think Hull City can get playoffs, says your mum? I'm not reading your first bit. It's rude. Do I think Hull City... Well, I hope not, because... oh, no, you drew... I want Birmingham City to stay up, but Odegaard's in here. Van der Ven has got caught out. He doesn't want to have another Newcastle nightmare, but good defending. Michael Oliver is the ref for this game. He gives a decision in favour of Spurs, which gives City a lead. I'll make sure that his mum won't do his hair, says Bart. Mate, I'm in the zone now with officiating, the Premier League, the mainstream TV coverage. I just don't care. I've got no intention of ever having any relationship with them. And I just don't care. I say what I think now. I watched Match of the Day this morning and I thought I was watching an episode of EastEnders. It was like a WWE script. I watched Man United Burnley and the way they cut it up and spoke about it after the game, I was like, oh my God. And it's you know what it scares me. You know what scares me about it? I grew up watching Match of the Day, and if they can take a United game and make it look like Burnley should have won 6-0 and talk about it, I might well have grown up watching highlights being absolutely indoctrinated into their agenda. It's scary. Mike, thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club. Oliver is the referee. Brainwashed. Mate, basically, long story short, I watched Man United play Burnley yesterday. We had more shots than them. It was 50-50 possession. They had some good chances, but we should have won. Their penalty was right. We should have had 2 penalties. Basically, Match of the Day at the end of it, at the end of the highlights, just basically spoke about how Burnley will be disappointed, dominated Man United, brushed past all of the penalty decisions like the PGMOL got it right, and then said Anthony did well when he came on. Anthony started the game. So if you didn't watch the game yesterday, you would have thought Burnley dominated Man United, should have won. None of the penalties were penalties, and Anthony scored off the bench. And you're like, oh my God. I watched the game. That's not what happened. That's just not what happened at all. It didn't happen. So I won't watch it anymore because I'm just like, I'm not getting the true story. I may as well just say I didn't know what happened in the Brighton whatever game. Anyway, good start from Arsenal, possession-wise, but, well, Partey's just been caught in possession there. I might have jinxed it. Here's Son. Into Maddison. Spurs' first real attack. It's a foul by Odegaard, but he's played on. I think he'll go back for the free kick. Why has he not gone back for the free kick? You tell him that. Oh, I don't understand the advantage rule. So it's a foul on Højbjerg. He plays the advantage. The pass doesn't go to an Arsenal player within a second, and he says, "Yeah, play on again." I don't think that's what advantage means, mate. I think you're meant to pull it back to where it was if no advantage is served. Love that cut, Mark, says Brown Avocado. Yeah, you can get it on United Stand Shopify, I think. It's going to go out for a throw-in. $20 saying there's a controversial call we're all raging about after the game. You heard it here first, says Xander. Mate, I just spoke about that. A few minutes ago. I think I don't think people realise the chances of a VAR call in a game now causing controversy has to be well over 50%. Because every game's going to get a penalty decision or a handball or something like that. And most of the time they're going to get them wrong. Gems has got a delay on her match. I don't know why, Gems, because I'm on Sky and just streaming as normal. Are you watching Man City against Forest? No. I can't. I'm not going to watch Man City again this season. I might watch the Spurs game if it's still possible, but I'm a jinx on Man City. Whenever I watch Man City, they just fucking win. Whenever I don't watch them as well. There's progress. Here's Werner into the box. Cross straight at Raya. I think we are pretty much second for second. That might be why some people are getting a bit of a delay. Bevo, you know the rules. Is he still at it? I haven't seen any clips of his for ages, but I don't really go on TikTok. So we've nearly had 10 minutes. Quite rightly, somebody has just said, What's your score prediction? Honestly, it's still really hard to tell. I mean, I hate to say it because it doesn't help anybody, but I sort of feel that we might get a draw. And it really doesn't help either of them. It's got that sort of vibe to it where both teams might cancel each other out. Which some might say is quite predictable, considering they're both good teams. I mean, look, there's a question in itself. Is there not an argument to be said that Arsenal and Spurs have never been so close in, you know, potential and ability and, you know, high up in the league? I think that the next few years for both teams could be really interesting. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm just talking shite. Cross comes in, headed away. Both got good defences as well. I think that's worth mentioning. Both have got very good defences, so maybe thinking there might be loads of goals today is a bit premature. I don't know. On Optus Sport Australia, I'm 40 seconds behind you, says J12. I think it's, if you're on a streaming platform, then that's why I don't like Amazon. Good free kick position here for Arsenal. I mean, I do like Amazon, but because it's a streaming platform, you always are behind your neighbour. Oliver's a Newcastle fan, says Grims. Can't wait for Michael Oliver dodginess, says Connor Jackson. It scares me you understand the laws better, says Thomas Hopley. Mate, these lot are making it up as they go along. It's very, very obvious. They referee each game like it's an individual game, and if you put your mindset on that, it's still not very nice. But I've sort of come to terms that they're not looking for consistency. They're just refereeing each individual game as an individual. God, we're having to block a few people today, aren't we, Fennec? Good job with the mods. Shot goes straight into the wall. Can anything be done about the PGMOL, says Tom? No. I mean, I'd get behind it if they could, but no. They've got an absolute grip on this game of football, and they've got absolutely no interest in improving it. I mean, you wouldn't give Michael Oliver this game. You wouldn't. Based on how many decisions he's been associated with Man City, you just wouldn't put him in a game like this. Because if he makes a bad decision today, and it does Arsenal, it's just you're giving yourself a load of shit again, but they don't care. Indie Vibes, thanks for the follow. AMC Edits as well. Marcus, if you're on TikTok, big shout out to you. Scott says if the game's boring, why watch it? Oh, God. Welcome to Sunday on social media. The habitat of the angry, depressed person who doesn't want to go to work or school tomorrow and takes it out on everybody else. I was saying before that both these teams have got very good defences. Well, I wasn't telling a lie. Arsenal have only conceded 26 goals this season. Spurs... Oh, actually, no, Spurs have still got the fourth best defence in the league, 49. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? Arsenal have conceded 26 goals this season. Their closest rival is Man City, who've conceded 32. As I've said before, I don't really know what more Arsenal could do to win the league this year. They've got the best defence by a long way. They've scored more goals than everybody else. They've been the best team since Christmas. I don't really know what more they can do. It's just the juggernaut that Man City is. They're just too strong. Apparently Everton have got the second best defence. No, they haven't. Oh! Offside, was it? Or side netting? Havertz. No, Odegaard. Odegaard through. Slipped in Havertz. Yeah, offside. Thomas Hopley says, I'm a referee. I concur on your advantage opinion. Yeah, so look, early doors. Højbjerg gets fouled. Michael Oliver plays on. The Spurs player plays a pass instantly that doesn't go to anyone. And he doesn't go back for the advantage. He doesn't go back for the foul. He says, that's your advantage. A misplaced pass. Marcus says, is this a better team than the Invincibles? Come on. Use your brain, Marcus. Thanks for the follow, Jack and Finn. Who do I want to win, says Leo. I think Arsenal have started off well here. Good block. I think Arsenal are the better team at the moment. Spurs struggling to get into it. Remember, Spurs haven't played for 2 weeks, though. In that time, I think Arsenal have played 3 or 4 games. So Spurs' last game was Newcastle, which seems a long time ago. They had this weird thing, because they're not in Europe and they weren't in the FA Cup, that they haven't played for 2 weeks. So maybe they're a little bit rusty. But, I mean, I'd like Arsenal to win, but I don't think they're going to win the league. What do you think about the Gakpo call yesterday, says Albert? I mean, I haven't looked at it properly yet, but they're trying to make out that they got it right. So if anybody saw it, let us know. The PGMOL are saying that Taylor got it right. Goal! Arsenal from a corner. Saka. He's got his hand over his ear saying, shush, I can't hear you. He wasn't saying shush. He was like that. It's gone straight in off of it's straight in. And it may be a own goal from Højbjerg. Holmberg. And it's absolutely the start that Arsenal would want, and it's absolutely not the start that Spurs would want. North London derby, it matters, but it also matters in the title race. It matters in the top 4 race. Villa fans will be singing about this. Villa fans will definitely be Arsenal fans today. Declan, I've just blocked you, mate. Bored. Boring. Absolutely boring. Yeah, it's a great header by Højbjerg. I tell you what, everything about this goal, the cross, the header, is brilliant. Apart from the fact that Højbjerg's done it in his own goal. It's a brilliant header. He gets over the Arsenal player to nod it in at the front post. It's a fantastic header, but he's just done it in the wrong goal. He really fights hard to get his head on it as well. He sort of gets over the Arsenal player to get his head in. Apparently, they have the same ref on VAR that made the Liverpool mistake earlier in the season, says Brennan. And thank you very much for that. And what are your thoughts on Klopp and Salah yesterday, says Dale. We're going to talk about it on the podcast a lot more tomorrow, but part of me just thinks, what does it matter? They're both probably leaving at the end of the season. They've both been legends for Liverpool. And the long-term damage of it is going to be minimal, considering they can't win a trophy and they can't win the league. So even if they hate each other now, I just wouldn't give it much oxygen, because what's the point? If they were going to be here for the future, you'd be very concerned, but it's just newspaper headlines for nothing. Klopp's going to go, so he won't be working with Klopp anyway, and Salah might go as well. Game's going to open up a bit now, says Ryan. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Great observation there. Obviously, Arsenal are the away team. Spurs cannot just let this game slip. They've got to get into it against their biggest rival. It should open up a bit. And that's better for us. Do you miss Ronaldo, says Berserk? I think we all miss Ronaldo, don't we? I miss Messi as well. I think, you know, we had many good years, but it's a good cross into the box, that. He's done really well there to get that cross in. I think it was Ben Tanker. It's gone out for a corner. Great goal by Højbjerg, says Joel. Cross comes in. Oh, it's nearly 1-1. Romero gets on the head of the corner, nods it to the far post, and it goes wide of the far post. Arsenal Spurs fans were all inhaling, trying to suck it in, but you're too far away, and it will take a lot more oxygen than that. Just flicked it wide. Ahmed says Ten Hag out. Max Brown, thanks for the follow. Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or, says Footy on TikTok. I think if Real Madrid win the Champions League, you've got to give it to Bellingham, surely. Which I think would be amazing for English football. Absolutely amazing. Thanks for all the follows. Mads, Kieran, Colin. Can we do a Saka or a Son poll? Says Mark. Well, you asked. I'll deliver. I won't always deliver. I don't want that to be written in stone. But if I see something I like, I'll do it. Saka or Son. Polls on YouTube. So Spurs already stepping up a bit. Free kick on Maddison. Getting a little bit tasty out there. I mean, that's what you want to see, isn't it? Who do I think is going to win the Champions League? Real Madrid. I think the final was Man City, Real Madrid. I said that at the time. I'll say it again. I think the final was Man City against Real Madrid. Would you take Ben Davies at United as Tello? Mate, he's a left back. I'm not picky at the moment. Oh my God! Did he hit the post? Did Romero hit the post? He hit something. Back post again. Header. Spurs stepping it up a little bit here. Comes in on the back post from Maddison. Yeah. Heads it onto the post. Two good responses here from Spurs and both from Romero. Would I take Romero? At the moment, I'd take him at United. We haven't got a centre-back. Surrey's cool. Thank you very much for joining, for following. The Gakpo call was advantage played off a corner. Then when the keeper thought it was a foul, the ref just changed his mind and prevented a goal, says Albert. Right, I'm going to watch it later. I'll watch it later and we'll mention it on the podcast. Well, they're all over them at the moment, Spurs. And they've got another corner here. There's going to be storms to weather, Arsenal. I'm sure they brought their umbrellas. They're going to have to put up with the... Spurs are a good team and they're going to have to put up with Spurs creating chances. That's going to be part of the game. Sorry, says Arsenal hanging on a little bit at the moment, which I think is perfectly normal. Headed away this time by Ben White. Saka clears it away. Porro with a shot from a long way out. And it's 1-1! 1-1! Van der Ven! Goal! What's the Arsenal defence doing? They've got their hands up like they're hailing a taxi. Get your hands down and pick the ball out the back of the net. Because I think that's a goal. And the response to going 1-0 down from Spurs has been very, very good. They've had 3 big chances and now it's 1-1. And it's Van der Ven again, says Brown Avocado. I think this is just bad defending from Arsenal. It's a shot by Porro and they just haven't followed. They haven't got the defensive line out quick enough. Too slow. Oh, he's off. He's off. Oh, he's offsides. That's very, very, very good defending by Arsenal. I didn't think they'd got the line out quick enough. And they have. Oh, come on, VAR. Or have they? Ooh, no. Well, I don't know, actually. Could be on. They haven't got the fucking... you know what? Can I just tell you the truth about VAR? Their technology is literally what you're looking at. They don't have a camera looking straight. So what they have to do is they take a TV camera, they zoom in like they are now, they have to take a reference point off one of the players and then the other player and figure it out. It's terrible. It's so bad. He might be onside. That's angled. You don't know. It is offside. I just find it amazing that there wasn't the one in the there was one quite recently at Wembley, and the camera was so far away it looked like they were figuring it out off a Nokia 3210. But I was speaking to somebody about this about 3 months ago, who sort of works in that arena, and they said the tech's crap. Like, it really is TV camera angle and try and reference the foot and then draw the line up, and it's like it's just terrible. Anyway, the goal's not been given. Very unlucky for Spurs, but you've got to say Arsenal's defence getting out there quickly has saved them. Bruno Gomes to United for 100 million, says Steve. Never going to happen. When there is a storm, learn to sing in the rain, says Donny Bravo. If Spurs play like this against City, they might stand a chance at stopping them, says Flores Official. And Mark, can we see your setup, and would you take Verts, says Elliot Lacey. I would take Verts. It's not a priority for Manchester United, though, if I'm being honest. Random Dude says fan, thank you very much. Liverpool says robbed. Was it offside, says SCFC. Yes, it has been given offside. Can't celebrate goals anymore, says Wilson. I think we're getting the new tech next season, but not at the start of the season. I think it's coming in September. So we're literally going to have a season where you've got the crap system for about 6 weeks and then the new one comes in. Interesting point from Rusty. They said they didn't check if it hit another player on the way through. Yeah, well, they don't have to, mate. They're in charge. Do you think Harry Kane has a chance at the Ballon d'Or? No. Not unless they win the Champions League. Bit of a penalty shout for Spurs there, to be honest. I mean, Kulusevski's made a mistake there, staying on his feet. He's tried to be honest. Now Saka's in. Great first touch. Always going to come on his left. It's 2-0. Oh, wow. That's incredible by Saka. But I tell you what, there's controversy at the other end because Kulusevski was probably a little bit too honest staying on his feet. And I think if he'd gone down, he might have made Oliver make a decision. But from that point, Arsenal have absolutely rinsed Spurs on the break. Perfection. Saka, they're surrounding the referee. He's made a decision that benefits Arsenal potentially. I mean, I'd have to see it back again. But what I would say about the Spurs defender, here he is. Watch Kulusevski here. I think if he goes down, there was a bit of a trip on him on the way through. It's not a foul on Maddison, I don't think. I was looking at the Kulusevski one and I've missed it. But defensively, I've got to say, is it Ben Davies? Crap defending. Saka's always going to come onto his left foot. It's bad defending that. Really bad. I could have told you that Saka's going to do that. And the fact that Ben Davies doesn't know it is incredible, really. But brilliant play by Saka. Lovely finish into the bottom corner. 2-0 to Arsenal. Great goal. Thanks for the follow, Foot 24 Ball and Muzzy. And you can't believe it. They haven't really made much of a deal of that Kulusevski thing, so I don't think there was much to it. But I'll tell you what, we're in for a very interesting game now. Spurs have got a mountain to climb, but they are at home. I don't think we've seen I think we've seen a great game here. I don't think we've seen the end of it. Make sure you give us a subscribe, bottom right-hand corner if you're watching on YouTube. We're closing in on 146,000. So thanks everyone who's tuning in, and thanks for all the follows as well. I mean, this would be a massive win for Arsenal if they can do it. 2-0 up after half an hour, though. They'll be very happy. Very close in the poll we've got on YouTube as well. Saka or Son. 48% Saka, 52% Son. All these balls are flat. I was going to do some keep-ups. Oh, God. They need pumping up. Every single one. They're all flat. They really are just for show. I haven't seen the replay on Kulusevski. Here we go. Well, he does get caught by Trossard. He did get caught by Trossard. No way. Declan Rice gets the ball. The second one's not a penalty, but he did get clipped by Trossard in the box. Like, he did. And I think if it had gone down straight away, there was more of a decision to be made. I think I said it at the time, didn't I? The fact that he tried to stay on his feet is not a penalty for me because, look, this is nothing to do with VAR. I'm not moaning at VAR here. But I've always said this. I don't know why players try and stay on their feet when they can't. Because you never get the penalty when you try and stay on your feet. I've never seen a referee go, he's been fouled, he's tried to stay on his feet, he can't, let's give the penalty. You've got to go down. He's got to go down. And even if he does go down, I'm not saying it's a penalty, but he's never getting a penalty for trying to stay on his feet. But there's definitely a clip on him. But look, Spurs fans were probably laughing at United yesterday. We had two like that on Garnacho yesterday, didn't get given, so at least they're being consistent. Trossard definitely clips him. Watch this. Watch. But Kulusevski stays on his feet. Definitely. You don't get points for being honest. He should have just, if he thought it was a penalty, he should have gone down. Ange Postecoglou, more like Ange Post-Apocalypse, says Jay. Football is shit. Turning off at 30 minutes again. Hope City win the league now. Arsenal players are embarrassing, says Cameron. You might switch off a little bit too, Cameron, early. Kian says, not a Spurs fan, but looked a foul to me. Why aren't you going mad at the refs? Or is it only because it's bad for City that you don't care about it, says Kian. Mate, I called it at the time. I saw it in real time. I said it looked like he got clipped. And when the goal went in, I said Kulusevski's been too honest. I can't moan at the referee when in real time I said if he wants a penalty for that, he's got to dive. Like, they never get given. I'm not going to moan about the referees when for years you never get a penalty for staying on your feet. So that's got nothing to do with VAR. That's been happening for years. The amount of times I've seen people get clipped in the box, try and stay on their feet, you don't get a foul. Like Saka there, could have stayed on his feet, goes down, gets a free kick. All right, he didn't. Right, let's run a poll on the penalty. I feel like Saka's beaten Son 51% to 49%, which is ridiculously close. Probably could have kept that running. Was it a penalty or not? I'm taking pelters here. Was it a penalty? Yes or no? Andy says, I think from the replay, he definitely lost his footing. It depends what angle you're looking at. The one from behind, you can see that Trossard clips him, I think. But the fact that people are undecided probably means that they might have got it right, you know? It's not clear and obvious, is it? Faris says that Trossard's defensive work rate is immense. It was given against Delo, says Will. Well, Spurs need to be very careful about imploding here. Because they got battered by Newcastle, didn't they? And Ange has had a lot of credit, but with no Europe, and Villa have got Europe, I think Spurs should be doing a little bit better. Harry Bain. Christopher Day says Saka depending immediately after just scoring, says Christopher Day. Thanks for the comment, Will, as well. Well, it's great for Arsenal now, isn't it? They can just defend, which they're very good at, and then counter, which they're very good at. So Spurs are in for a tough evening, but it's been a good game. Good afternoon. Sorry. Tough afternoon. Arsenal back to being a top club when they were worse off than us not long ago. What have they done that United hasn't, says Cheery. I think this is a great question. I've been a big fan of Arteta from day one, even when Arsenal fans were singing Arteta, I could see what he was doing. The way Arsenal have become successful, and it's not happened overnight. It hasn't happened overnight. But the way that Arsenal have become successful is they gave a manager the freedom to build what he wanted to build with the structure to build it. In a sentence, that's why Arsenal are successful. In more granular detail, he was allowed to come in and get rid of massive influences in the dressing room and the fan base, like Aubameyang. I mean, you had Piers Pratty-Morgan slagging Arteta off for about 18 months because he got rid of his best mate, Aubameyang. He got rid of Ozil. He was allowed to get rid of big players, even though some of the fans didn't want it to happen. And they backed him to bring in other players as well. And he was given time. So the Arsenal project is not even completed yet. And it certainly didn't happen overnight. And at the start, there was a big movement to have him sacked. There are a lot of lessons to learn from Arsenal. Like, there was a very big movement to sack Arteta. We all saw the clips. We all saw the T-shirts. We all saw the videos outside the ground. Get rid of him now, you know. And the club stood firm and gave him the support and allowed him to get rid of whoever he wanted to get rid of. And it's worked a treat. Patience. When did you last have a kebab, says Reb. Ooh, I haven't had a kebab in years. I haven't eaten bread for about 5 weeks. Naan bread was on my plate last night and I didn't eat it. That's how focused I am at the moment on not eating badly. I was very proud of myself. I actually went out into the garden and cried. I said, I'm so bloody proud of you. And I buried that naan bread like a cat burying a shit. I was like, no more will you have a grip on my waistline. Out of all the games left, who do you think has the best chance of getting points off City, says Rays. I just don't. I don't want to scare Arsenal fans, but Man City's win ratio in their final 5 games over the last 5 years is into the 90s%. Like, I don't think Man City are not going to win a game, so I think they're going to win the league. They've got Forest away, win. Wolves at home, win. Fulham away, win. Tottenham away, win. West Ham at home, win. So I don't see them dropping any points. They dropped all the points they were going to drop at the start of the season. It's 3! They've got it to cut. They've scored from a corner again. It's Havertz as well. I told you that Spurs needed to be very careful that this didn't get embarrassing. How is this team not going to win the league, by the way? Best defence in the league, scored the most goals in the league, playing some of the best football in the league, and still they might not be able to topple the juggernaut of City. They deserve the league from what I've seen since Christmas, and it might not still be enough. And here they are, in their biggest rivals' back garden, and they're schooling them in front of their own family, and nobody can do anything about it. It's terrible defending by Spurs, by the way. I mean, Havertz is stood very much amongst the crowd with a free header, and I don't know who's meant to be marking. I think it's Romero. You've got to blame Romero there. He's just nowhere to be seen. 3-0 to Arsenal. Absolute tanking. Spanking. And everything else. I'm not going to say the W. Destroying them. Arsenal destroying them. It's men against boys. It really is. In the US, refs who make poor decisions are typically fired or not allowed to manage big games. Why is the Premier League so uptight with their referees? And are referee decisions ever reviewed, says MM. It's a dictatorship, mate. They're not interested in that. Out of all the games left, yeah, I've done that one. Do you think if Modric and Bale stuck in Spurs instead of moving to Madrid, would Spurs have won more trophies? No, I think they made the right choice, Brian. And Kirst says, you missed an angle where you were typing. He tripped himself. Well, we'll see it at half time, Kirst, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll show it us again at half time. But there's no debating that Arsenal deserve to be winning the game. And they're 3-0 up here after 40 minutes. I mean, the worry for Spurs now is that they got beat by Newcastle 4-0. Was it 4-0 against Newcastle? Another 3 here. 7 goals conceded. None scored in just over a game and a half. Just under a game and a half. Has Ange Ball been figured out? Well, they haven't got any excuses, have they? I mean, they haven't really got any injuries anymore. There's Davies. Son. Oh, he slips. It's just not going right. I mean, Maddison's a player that's just not been the same since his injury as well, isn't he? Very good game, though. Really enjoyable. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks, everyone. Just get out of this twat. There we go. Thanks for the follow from Diego. And captain. Havertz up front works. Mark, are you going to shut the stream down at half time? No, because I actually quite like watching Arsenal. Man City I find boring. 6 out of 7. It's a bit boring, isn't it? Plus they've been given the keys to the kingdom by the Premier League. So, yeah, there's no integrity to what Man City do. Whereas I think with Arsenal, what Arteta's built is actually quite credible. Two times White has held Vicario back now. Why no foul, says James. I haven't seen that. I've seen a few people talking about it. Maybe they'll show us that at half time as well. But you can do that to a goalkeeper now. They changed the rules. Atoro says, great interview with Henry Winter. Yeah, check it out on United Stand. Appreciate that, Atoro. I think the only reason Arsenal won't win the league is the PGMOL, says Khalid. And great interview with Winter on United Stand as well, says Reb. Please do more if they have the balls. Well, I don't know whether you'd call Luckhurst a great journalist, but he hasn't got the balls. We've asked him loads of times. He's terrified. But I wouldn't class him as a journalist either. Just be an interesting chat with a fan. Oh, come on. I fancy a red card in this game. I'd be very surprised if we don't get one. As boring as City for me, turning this one off at half time too, I think, was only ever going to be an Arsenal win, says Tyler. And you think Arsenal or Man United may pass Tottenham, says Torella. No. Absolutely not. Son's in. Oh my God. That was one before half time would have been interesting. Nice ball over the top. But he's missed there. United can't get fourth place anymore because we are 13 points behind Aston Villa and there's only 4 games to go. So we can't get fourth place. And fifth place is not going to get the Champions League anymore anyway, is it? Elliot Taylor makes a good point. Camera's gone to Ange once. Wouldn't it be off Ten Hag? Good point. Oh, I'm very happy today, actually. Me and Seb unlocked Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Keep you ups at half time. Shamoni. Max, thanks for the follow. Oh. No. No. Where is it? Found it. Found it. Andrew says, do you think Son's fallen off? He actually said something else, but I've just posted it as a different thing. And it included swearing. People said that about Son last year, though, didn't they? I think he's a bit of a in and out player, to be honest, Son. I think Spurs in general have fell off a little bit lately. Arsenal, says Junior. Well, we'll talk about this at half time. I mean, I think that it's not a penalty because 58% of you say not, and I want to go with the majority. No, I didn't think it was a penalty because Kulusevski stayed on his feet. I think you've got to go down. I know it's dishonest, but I think if you feel contact, you've got to go down. And the fact that he tried to stay up, does that mean because there wasn't contact and he tripped himself up? We'll have to see at half time. Vinny was injured for 2.5 months and has almost the same numbers as Bellingham. I think it should be him, says Daksha. Fair point. Asked you if Ben White was the most underrated player in the league 4 months ago and you said that Arsenal need to replace him. Has that changed, says Charlie? It certainly has, because I'd put him in my team of the season. Somehow I'm made to believe Ange is Fergie's regen, says Mario Franco. And do you think Havertz will be our number 9 next season, says McCullough? Well, I think this is a great point, and I'd love people to give us some theory on it. I think that when you look at Arsenal and their need to sign a striker, Isak, Watkins would be brilliant for a team like Arsenal. But do they need to sign a striker of that quality when they've spent £70 million on Havertz and he'd automatically go to the bench if you bought a striker? So, look, I think Arsenal do need an out-and-out striker, and I do think that Havertz offers something different. But you might find yourself in a situation where they don't bother now to go for a striker of high profile. Thing is with Arsenal, I don't know. I think Arsenal are a very good club when it comes to, I never know what their financials are. You know, I don't know what their financials are. So I don't know how much money they've got to spend. But, you know, they could well have a fair bit. Here's Kulusevski. Cross shot, headed away. I also think when you're looking at Spurs and talking about strikers, I think that's a good conversation to have as well, because I think that they really miss Harry Kane, of course, but they don't have a striker. Like Son playing up front is not a striker, and I think physically it's easy for Gabriel and Saliba to rough him up. He's a winger. Kulusevski's a winger. Werner's a winger. Spurs haven't got that guy up top who can, occupy centre-backs. Do you think United's dominance was boring? Seen a lot of people having this conversation on TikTok. Right, Robble, I'll give you a clip for TikTok. Right, I say that the Premier League is boring because Man City are going to win it 6 times out of 7. You get people on TikTok saying, oh, I bet he wasn't saying that when Man United were winning the title. Well, I bet you weren't saying it either, because you definitely were up your mum's chuff. You barely look old enough to shave, so you definitely were up your mum's chuff. So don't talk about what you don't know. Man United dominated the Premier League, yes. But the rivalry between Wenger and Sir Alex and Arsenal and Man United was the best rivalry this league's ever had. Think about Klopp against Pep on steroids. It was the best rivalry the Premier League's ever had. So however many, Man United won 3 titles in a row in the Wenger-Fergie era. So that's 3 of our titles that weren't easy. Then along came Mourinho. And Mourinho was probably the second best rivalry in Premier League history between Mourinho and Man United. And we won, I think, 3 in a row then. So we did dominate, but the only time we really dominated massively with no real competition was in the first few years of the Premier League. I think when we had Cantona, Hughes, Ince, Pallister, Bruce, there wasn't really, Villa once. I was very young myself, but that was the only time we didn't really have a decent adversary. But most of our Premier League titles, we've had... look, one of them we came back from 12 points behind Newcastle as well. So most of our Premier League titles, we had to really battle for them, and we had good opposition. We also didn't have 115 charges against us, but on top of that, forget the 115 charges. Man City are a good team. But Man City are the only club in Premier League history that's been able to spend the amount of money they've spent without recourse, and nobody else can do it anymore. So they've got a massive advantage. So when you see these people on TikTok trying to tell you that Man United's dominance was the same as Man City's, they're chuff monsters. They haven't got a bloody clue. They didn't live it. They're just looking on a fucking Wikipedia, looking at how many times United won it and going, it's the same. And it's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. Even a Man City fan would admit that was alive. Will the media start to criticise Ange now, says HPN. They're too busy with Ten Hag. Thoughts on Leicester's promotion, says Constantine. Inevitable when you've got the parachute payments and the quality of players that they retained. If Arteta wins the league with Arsenal, is it a bigger achievement than anything Pep's done, says Michael. If Arteta wins the league with Arsenal, he should get a statue. I said that last year. Do you think, can we get Spurs fried chicken trending, Mark, says Cac? Well, if you want to tweet it, you tweet it. What was the first video game you played, says Ock? Probably Mario. I don't know whether you've kept up with League One in France, but Stade Brest, who usually lower mid-table, are on place for Champions League, says Nath. And Son or Ji-Sung Park as best Korean player of Premier League? I love Ji-Sung Park, but I'd say Son was the better player, definitely. Let's have a look at the stats at half-time here. We will have a look at the penalty decision as well. I'm sure we're going to see that coming through very quickly. I'm also going to be pumping a ball up and doing some keep-ups. It's a tradition. But there was something I wanted to... Let's have a look at the French league then. Someone said, look, that's football. Sometimes you've got to do stuff you don't want to do in the name of football. Nice are 5th and Brest are 4th. Nice is obviously Sir Jim Radcliffe's club, so yeah, they're not... I wonder what that happens with that Europa League thing if they're both in the Europa League. I don't know. Leave it for another day. Stats at half-time. Have we got it? Or is it moved off? Let's take it. Let's pause it. So 72% possession for Spurs, 28% for Arsenal. 2 shots on target for Arsenal because one of them was an own goal. Spurs have had more shots. This is actually identical to what happened yesterday in a different way. Chelsea at half-time had 72% possession against Aston Villa and were 2-0 down. Spurs have had 72% possession and are 3-0 down. So all these stats monsters get in the bin. Football is watched with the eyes and not with a computer. 3-0 to Arsenal at half-time. Spurs have had more shots, but they've had nothing on target. They've had way more of the ball. Look at Spurs' pass accuracy, 91% to Arsenal's 76%. I don't think if you gave that a geek, if I gave that to a footballing hipster who wasn't watching the game, they'd go, well, by looking at that, Mark, I don't know what, let's just do a normal voice. They'd go, I think Spurs are winning 1 or 2-0. You're wrong. They're losing 3-0. Incredible how Arsenal have navigated this game because it's not all about possession. Arteta's come here and basically said, we're going to defend really well and we're going to counter really well. And they've done that really well. And they've scored from 2 corners as well. They've been brilliant at corners this year. The set-piece coach for Arsenal deserves massive credit. And they've done a job on Spurs. Like, they've done a big job on Spurs. They've come away from home in a North London derby in a game they need to win. They've built it on a strong defence and efficient counter-attacking. And that's what they've done. Fantastic performance from Arsenal. Probably a little bit naive by Spurs. Insane to think at one point Mount was the star boy of Chelsea while Havertz was considered the outcast, says Abraham. Remember, we have a chance versus Spurs on Thursday, says Blues enthusiast. I think Chelsea will beat Spurs on Thursday. At Stamford Bridge, the way Spurs are playing at the moment, I can't see Spurs getting anything. I mean, I was looking at this before the game. I wish I'd said it, really, because it's now going to sound like hindsight, which it is. But if you look at Spurs since March, beat Crystal Palace 3-1 at the start of March, beat Villa 4-0 at Villa Park, yeah, so great start to March, and then things start to go wrong. Battered by Fulham 3-0 at Craven Cottage, had to come from behind to beat Luton at home, drew with West Ham, had to come from behind against Forest to beat them at home, and then battered by Newcastle. They haven't been their normal selves for probably 6-7 weeks now for Spurs, and it's that thing that quality can't buy. It's that mentality when you hit that final run in, Spurs mentally just haven't grabbed the opportunity. Now, some people are saying Spurs got robbed. We're going to have a look at it now. Hopefully they're going to give us a good camera angle on it. Never a penalty, says Joshua. 62% of you on the YouTube poll are saying it wasn't a penalty. The first goal obviously was an own goal by Højbjerg, which they're showing at the moment. But in real time on the second goal, which Saka scores, there is an incident leading up to it in the penalty box. Kulusevski runs into the box and half falls over. Now, if he's clipped by Trossard, there's a shout for a penalty, but he's got to go down. He's got to go down. I mean, he's old enough to realise that you do not get a penalty when you half go down from a trip. You've got to go down. So, here we go. He's in the box. He's in the box. Yeah, there's clip on his back ankle. But he's got to go down. He tries to stay up and he passes the ball afterwards. And that's why he doesn't get a penalty. So I sympathise with Spurs, but he's got to go down. He tries to stay on his feet and then he passes the ball. If he goes down, referee's got to make a decision. So if you want to blame anybody, blame Kulusevski. He should have stayed down. And then we would have had the conversation about whether it was a penalty or not. But he stays on his feet and he passes the ball. So I don't think he slipped, Amar. I think it's very clear that he gets caught. You can see the contact of the shin of Trossard on his back foot. I think there is contact, but I don't think it's a penalty because I've never seen a penalty given for that. And I'm 92, apparently. I've never seen a penalty given. Look, I don't like VAR. I don't rate the referees and I don't rate the PGMOL, but I don't do agenda, I just do honesty. And in my life, I've never seen a penalty given where a player gets clipped and they try and stay on their feet. I've said this so many times. Honesty gets you nowhere in the box. You do not get rewarded for being fouled and trying to stay on your feet. So blame Kulusevski for that. Referee's never going to go in a game like this. You were fouled. You tried to stay on your feet. You're honest, so you're having a penalty. You've got to go down. You've got to go down. And then you have a decision to make. But if he stays on his feet, it's not a penalty for me. Thanks for the follow, Glory. And problem is that encourages diving, says BK. Yeah, but we all know it. We all know it. I've coached. Connor says, I think he clipped his own foot. Watch it back. But there's definite contact on that angle. On that angle. We never 4 in a row and chance for double treble, says Umzi. Insane to think that at one point I've done that one as well. Harry says it's insane that Arsenal have only got 28% possession and 76% pass accuracy and a 3-0 up. You shouldn't have to go down to win a penalty, but that goes back to the officiating again. We all know if you want to get a penalty, you've got to go down. Obvious penalty, and Van der Ven was onside when the ball ricocheted off 2 Arsenal defenders. Game is dead and gone, says Simon. I'm not too sure about the offside rule there, Simon. I think it's when the shot is taken if you're in an offside position, even though there's a deflection. I think they've got that right. I think when the shot's taken, it's where you stood. So I think they've got that right. Miles follows. Thank you very much on TikTok. Appreciate that. Do you think the race for top 4 is over, looking at the fixtures left? Well, Spurs have got Chelsea away and Liverpool away next 2 games. Third goal is a foul on Vicario, so 7. Not even seeing a replay on that, mate. Disappointing, I know, but not even seeing a replay on that one. Ridiculous that diving should be rewarded, says Henry. I agree, but if he goes down, they'll have to make a decision. The fact that he stays on his feet, no decision will be made. Where are City going to lose points, says Dylan? I don't think they do. Havertz pushes Van der Ven to grant himself the header. Chelsea player did the same yesterday, but goal was ruled out. Consistency, says Max. Look, maybe there's a couple of decisions in there that are controversial, but what's not controversial is that says 3-0. And even if Spurs get a couple of those decisions go their way, you're still going to be losing. Unfortunately for Spurs, in their last 2 games, when I've watched them, 4-0 against Newcastle, 3-0 now to Arsenal, there's something fundamentally wrong with a team that's conceding 7 goals in a game and a half and not scoring. Something's gone wrong for Spurs, hasn't it? I'd be pissed if Man United finally turn up and deny Arsenal the league at Old Trafford, says Detox. There's a few United fans that are starting to think like that, but I don't think it will matter because I think Man City will win the league anyway. Witness says Arsenal are showing who the kings of London are. And Dash says, forget losing. I don't think City are capable of drawing with anybody. Villa fans will be very happy at the moment. JR Extreme says, there's also a disallowed Arsenal goal that didn't get VAR review. Also, at what point do Arsenal lose the narrative of bottle it the moment they lose, says JR Extreme. Fair point. Fair point. One moment. I'm thinking of ordering one of the England tops for the Euros, actually. Which one would you go with, home or away? Just because I'm going to be doing so many streams, I just thought, well, and it, hopefully being June and July, it'll be quite warm. So I'm thinking T-shirt. Do I go with the current England home kit or the current England away kit? I was thinking about going with home. The away one, I don't like the pattern under there. Looks like a snail has swallowed a tin of rainbow paint and then shat it out under your arms. Also, the away kit has got the controversy of the flag on the back, hasn't it? Oh, and the home kit, apparently. Corners, I like penalties for Spurs. Vicario has been shocking for us from these. The refs change their minds on fouling keepers and we don't learn, says Anoni. Yeah, I think Arsenal from corners since Christmas have been a major, major threat. I really do. Oh, there's also, I've done that one. Well, Arsenal need City to mess up somewhere because even if they win all their games, Arsenal can't win the league if they do. I mean, looking at Arsenal's final 3 games, have they only got 3 left after today, Arsenal? Is that right? They've only got 3. Arsenal have got Bournemouth at home, Everton at home, and Man United away. So really, the only game for Arsenal is going to be the Man United one, which you would expect them to win. Like, I don't think there's a United fan out there that thinks we're capable of stopping Arsenal. Like, we don't have a team at the moment, and one thing about Arsenal is they're a team. But, you know, football's funny, isn't it? But that's looking like being Arsenal's toughest game on paper. But to be fair, it might not be. But Bournemouth at home, you'd fancy them to play that. Yeah, they've only got 3 games left now. Arsenal. What teams would Sir Alex suit in the Premier League next year, says Taylor? Or are you talking about Evan Ferguson? Are you going to try to go to the next World Cup, says Connor? I am going to go to the next World Cup. Looking forward to it. Already booked my hotels. Bought my tickets. And going to the England games. What would be your favourite Champions League final matchup? As a Bayern fan, I'd love a 2013 Wembley rematch. I'm far less interested in an Mbappe derby. I would like to see... I think Dortmund is a waste of time in the final against Real Madrid. I think PSG Real Madrid is the final I would want. I mean, I wouldn't look. I'd like to see Bayern Munich Dortmund as a final, but if Real Madrid are going to be in the final, then I'd want it to be PSG because it would just be a better game. Dortmund against Real Madrid, it'd be great from Bellingham's point of view, the Bellingham derby, but I don't think Dortmund. I think Dortmund did very well to get past Atletico Madrid, and I think Atletico Madrid blew it by not scoring enough goals in the home leg. Raj is pissed. He says Forest are going to win today. Starting early, Raj. Anyway, we're up and running in the second half here. Yeah, Everton are already safe, so when they play Arsenal, it's... Everton won't beat Arsenal anyway. I have a feeling Arsenal will win all their games. And it won't be enough. Well, through the back of Odegaard there, he's all right. Southgate and no Glazers or Arteta with the Glazers, says EC. I'm not answering these silly questions. They don't mean anything. They don't mean anything, EC. Like, you're asking a hypothetical that's actually quite antagonistic, and it doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm not answering it. There's my answer. It's Man United, Mark. We don't know what to expect, says Nitro. And Ange is tactically inept. Just one way to play. It's just who we are, mate, says 90 Stephen. And when's the next Cooking with Goldbridge, Mark, says Jim. Well, fuck knows, mate. I don't know whether I'll ever get the time. I'd like to get the time. P-Funk says Ten Hag saying Man United playing dynamic football is a joke. Well, we did create 27 chances yesterday, mate. So there was a question there I wanted to talk about. What was it? Oh, it's gone now. I live by Dallas, where most of the World Cup games are. I'll buy you a beer, Mark. Let's go race karts. Yeah, I love that, Colin. Sounds great. Flag of dignity, I do not think Spurs will beat Chelsea. If you put Rasmus in Chelsea's side this year, how much goals do you think he scores, says Taylor? I think he'd score more than Jackson. I think the problem that Rasmus has is he doesn't get any bloody service. Whereas Jackson does get a lot of service and just doesn't take the chances he should. Oh, I know what I was going to say now. Thank you. I've just read a comment there. I'm going to give Andy C a shout out because it prompted it to come back into my head. A lot of people are talking about Spurs against Man City, second to last game of the season, being the one because Man City have never won at Spurs or something like that. You do realise that Spurs are not going to beat Man City to help Arsenal win the league. Like, you can't pick and choose when you want to say rivalry matters. I think Man City will beat Spurs anyway, but there's no way Spurs are going to beat Man City to let Arsenal win the league. They won't do it. And by the time that game gets played, I think Spurs will have fifth sewn up and be on the beach anyway. So, unfortunately, if Arsenal fans are hoping Spurs are going to do them a favour, I think Spurs will be on the beach by then. Their season will be over. And they're not going to help Arsenal win the league. Like, that rivalry matters too much. They'd rather lose and let Man City win. So it won't happen. You've got a better chance that Fulham do you a favour. Cheers from AV, mate. Whatever happens this season, this Arsenal team is here to stay for the next 5 years. We are only gaining pace, says Thomas. And 40 says, do you mind Arsenal beating United if it stops City? Well, no, I want Man United to win that game because we need points. But if they beat us and that helps them win the league, that's fine. But I'm not going to say I want Arsenal to beat United. I think they probably will. I don't think I need to say I want them to win. I'm not going to be sat there wanting them to win. If they do win and they win the league, fine. And I think they will because I think they're way better than us. But I want United to win that game. I don't think I need to worry about us winning, though. The worst thing would be a draw. That would piss me off. Again, if we're going to stop Arsenal doing whatever they're doing, then we better bloody win. Bournemouth are 2-0 on Brighton, by the way. Good old De Zerbi. What a great coach he is. I'll tweet that because it'll upset the hipsters. I mean, Brighton are sinking like the Titanic here. They've got 44 points. Bournemouth are ahead of them by 4 points. I mean, he's had a good season, hasn't he, their coach? Brighton are not having a good season at all. I don't think they're in danger of dropping any lower than 12th, but could have been a season that offered so much for Bournemouth as well. As a Villa fan, I'm very much enjoying this game. Hopefully Poch exploits that high line and Palmer has a field day against Spurs on Thursday. Up the Villa, says Joker. Des says, I'm still gutted by United. Great content. Thanks, Des. We're on the United stand at 7 o'clock tonight. Spurs are like a bad ESB beer, bottled and bitter, says PJ. Van der Ven should have been a goal, says Ian Wright, who obviously is Arsenal through and through. The ball came off Arsenal players last. He is right. I don't think he is, China. And do you think they'll sack Arteta if they don't win anything next season, says Les? I don't know. Could be 4. Oh, big save by Vicario. Chip to the back post by Havertz. Saka in the 6-yard box. Hits it towards the goal, and Vicario somehow gets it up and over the bar with his feet. I think Havertz might have been offside in the build-up, but it's a lovely ball and good. That's with his feet, that's a very good save by Vicario. I don't know how he gets this over the bar here with his foot. Brilliant. I don't think Arteta could ever be criticised for not winning the league title. I mean, you're up against the most dominant machine in Premier League history. I don't think Arteta can really do anything about it. If Man City didn't exist, they'd have won 2 games, two titles. Right, Spurs need to be careful here. They've already conceded from 2 corners. Look at how Spurs are trying to bump off Ben White. I think what we've seen today, though, is that there is a clear quality gap between Arsenal and Spurs, which is what we would have predicted anyway. But it being a derby, as we saw with Everton, there's a quality gap between Everton and Liverpool, but Everton made it count. And I think that's going to be the disappointment for Spurs fans is that, yeah, Arsenal are better than Spurs, but in a derby at home, you'd expect a little bit more. And yeah, Arsenal have still been able to exert their authority on the game. Thanks for the follow, Ohaz. Rashford comments as Zad. Don't know what that's all about. Thanks for the follow, Adrian. Crown says, can you please say Tottenham will not make a comeback? Jack, thanks for the follow on TikTok. And Axe as well. Okeem, Mishik. Josh, has Rashford made a comment? He should be putting a comment saying, thanks to United Stand for being even-handed and getting Henry Winter on, who's a big fan of mine, to give my side of the story. Blah, 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 blah. Corner to Spurs. No, I'm bloody not doing Man City against Forest. I've got better things to do. Thing is about that Rashford tweet is midnight, probably not by him, but kept up. So whether he made it or not, he's still standing by it, isn't he? Still letting that statement be out there. Fair play. Galaxy, thanks for the follow. Haaland's been benched again and Foden is sick. I mean, for a normal club, that would be a big problem. But for Man City, oh, Foden's sick. Let's just play Grealish or Doku. Oh, Haaland's not well or fit. Let's play Alvarez. Ironically, Emery is the sole reason Arsenal won't win the league. And he's probably very happy with that, Nigel. Is Havertz your favourite German player in the Premier League at the moment? I'll tell you what, Havard, let me just go to my Excel spreadsheet and see where he is in relation to my favourite German player in the Premier League at the moment. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, no, not German. I'm just... Oh, sorry. I've gone to look at Hungarian. FGHI. No, not French. Where's the tab for Germany? Oh, I found it. Here it is. Oh, don't give a shit. I don't have favourite German, French or Italian players playing in the Premier League at the moment. Is he the best German player playing in the Premier League at the moment? That's the question you needed to ask, Havard. Injuries has hit us hard this season. We trust De Zerbi, says Gazzy. Oh, he shouldn't be getting the sack. I'm just saying he shouldn't be getting the Liverpool job or the Man United job. Or the Chelsea job. Do you think you would have supported United if this current team was the team around when you first started watching United as flats? I started supporting Manchester United in the mid-80s, mates. Check Wikipedia. We didn't win a title till the early 90s, so... I don't pick my team based on who's winning the Premier League. That's what light blue fans do. Let's close the poll, by the way. We've got a penalty poll from the first half. It was 62% saying no penalty. It was 38% saying it was a penalty. The boss is pissed as well. He says Forest will get a result and shock people. A Journey, thanks for the follow. Right. It'd be nice if Spurs scored a goal, considering they haven't scored in their last two. I just don't... They don't look like they can get back into this. Forest do need points. Like, they desperately do need points. Having said that, Luton don't look like they're going to get any points at the moment. So... And Forest have got a game in hand, so I think Forest will stay up regardless. But then again, maybe Forest might look at Burnley and go, they're a bit of a concern, because they've got to go to Burnley last game of the season. So Forest factor in that they're probably going to lose to Burnley last game of the season. They've got Chelsea at home, they've got City at home, and they've got Sheffield United away. I mean, Forest might only get 3 more points. That's not going to be enough. So they can't pick and choose their games with 4 to go. So they're going to have to... They have to try and get something out of City today, but I can't believe people think that that's possible. Wonder why he doesn't play Richarlison. I mean, I know he's divisive, but he is somebody that can actually play as a number 9 and hold the ball up. Do you think... I've done that one. Bowen or Garnacho, says West Ham on TikTok. Well, I can't do a TikTok poll, but I will whack it up on YouTube. Either or. Saka's on the attack. Do you think Phil Foden's the best player in the Premier League right now, says Leonard? No. No, I don't. No. De Bruyne is better than Phil Foden. Even in the Man City team, there's a better player. Like, I don't even need to leave Manchester City. I know he's been injured for most of it, but De Bruyne is better than Foden. It's clear as day. I thought De Bruyne in that second leg at the Etihad against Real Madrid was inhuman. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely superb. Zach says, what's the most memorable goal you've scored? I've scored so many. I mean, some of them in the living room have just... I've just remembered one in the living room about 6 years ago. I've come round the coffee table and I've curled it and it's gone right in the bottom corner. There's a cushion and then there's the sofa arm and there's this little hole and it's gone perfectly in there. The equivalent of a 45-yard streamer in the top corner. I mean, I was nearly crying in the living room. I was like, that is it's such a shame that that's not been recorded. I should be given an interview on Sky. Corner to Arsenal. No one's getting on the end of that. If you're on YouTube, by the way, please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, substitutions are starting to happen now. We're only 100 subscribers away from 146,000. Please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, click that button. Trossard is coming off for Martinelli and Basuma is coming on for Spurs. Thanks for the follow, Jord and Chaz and George. Appreciate that. Rashford to Arsenal. Mate, if Arsenal want Rashford, then I genuinely think it wouldn't be a bad move for everybody, but I don't think Arsenal would go for Rashford. I really don't. Look, there's definitely a player in Rashford. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know that... It's weird because I could see him in an Arsenal shirt, but... What Rashford's got to do, whether he's playing for Man United, oh my God, what a mistake by Raya. And it's one back. He puts his hand up and it's Romero. Romero. I tell you what, I don't know why Romero's leading the press there, but he's playing virtually as a number 10. David Raya, with a big mistake. All the Ramsdale people will be going mad about this. Ball goes back to him. Terrible, terrible. I don't know what he's trying to do. But what's Romero doing leading the press here? Well, with 25 minutes left, it's unneeded pressure for Arsenal. And I'll tell you what, Romero finishes it very, very well. There's hope. There's hope. 3-1. Lance on TikTok says, this is going to be 3-3, I'm telling you. Well, it's a bit like Chelsea yesterday, isn't it? They had all the possession in the first half and they did nothing with it. And then they finished the game really strong from 2-0 down and nearly won it. It's a bad mistake by Raya, there's no doubt about it, but it's... One thing I would say is that it's not really a goal conceded by Arsenal's defence, is it? It's an error. So they've still got the best defence in the league. And it's another corner here. Good point from Joshua. When you deep it, Romero could have had a hat-trick. Yeah, we're going deep, baby. It's going to get very interesting if Spurs can get one back, another one back. Imagine if they blew this from this situation as well. Good defending by Van der Ven on Martinelli. Raya's out quickly there. Tyrell says, opinions on Rashford to Arsenal. Is this just a theory, or is it actually based on anything? Because, I mean, I can speak hypothetically, but if it's coming from anywhere interesting, then, you know, look, if Rashford went to Arsenal, or if he stays at Man United, the number one thing he's got to do is start defending. Like, he doesn't do enough defensive work, and that's a big problem in an Arsenal team or a Man United team or any team. So that whether Rashford stays at United or he moves somewhere else, he absolutely cannot go in his current form and play for anybody else. He's got to change the way he plays football and work harder. So why not do it at Man United is my theory. But yeah, that would be the problem. Thanks for the follow, Tottenham 8. Well, exciting times now. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. I think Rashford's playing style suits an Everton. It suits a counter-attacking team like a West Ham, where he can get the ball on the break. Odegaard's done really well here, but Romero is strong on Havertz. Not really had any of the big tenacious moments yet, but with 20 minutes to go and Spurs sensing something, we might get a bit of a fireworks here at the end. Who are you supporting, Mark? Says Amy. Football. I'm supporting football. They should put Dragusin in, says Matteo. City lineup is out, apparently. Let's have a look at that if you're interested. Fair play if you're going to watch it. Spurs on the attack here. Now it's good play by Basuma there. Arsenal just trying to take the sting out of this. Apparently Foden's not very well. Sus says, if VAR had been decent, Liverpool could have won the league. Well, Liverpool have sort of blown it in a way, haven't they? Because they always had that in their back pocket. They'd had a few decisions go against them. They should have had a penalty against Man City at the end. They had the onside goal not given. There's been a few, but the reality is they've drawn with West Ham and they've lost to Palace and Everton, and that's why they won't win the league. I bet Howard Webb and the PGMOL are absolutely ecstatic by that, by the way. Liverpool missing out on the league by a point or two would have been a nightmare for them, integrity-wise. Thanks for the follow. It's Callie. Cohen on TikTok. Life's good, mate. Just reading the hate, ignoring it, and interacting with the good people. That's what life's all about. It's a life lesson there. Ignore the hate. Focus on the good people. Don't give them oxygen. They're just depressed because it's Sunday and they've got to go back to school or work. Hi, Mark. I have exams this week. Any words of encouragement? Love the show, says Alex. Well, I hope you've studied for it, Alex, or you're naturally gifted. Because there's nothing worse than being in an exam that you haven't studied for. I remember doing my GCSEs and it was a massive exam. I think it was one of the sciences. I'd not studied for it at all. And it was a boring room with a clock and a load of people working in it. And I was just out of my depth. Out of my depth. Put the work in, you'll get the rewards. Why haven't you... There's a lot of City fans getting really hilariously stressed by the fact that I turned City off on Thursday because it was 3-0 at half time, but I didn't turn this one off. I'll tell you. I wasn't going to mention it, but I'll tell you, right? The reason I turned City off at half time against Brighton is because you're boring. You're really boring to watch, and there's better things to do. Like, I had my sock drawer to sort out. Like, Arsenal 3-0 up against Spurs at half time is still a really interesting game to watch. So I know you're trying to make a point, but the point is, I know why I turned it off, because it was me who did it. And it's because Man City are boring. And that's why I'm not watching you play at half 4 as well, because you'll win. Because you're so much better than everybody else. So that's why I turned it off, because you're boring to watch. Whereas Arsenal Spurs is actually still very interesting, even with Arsenal 3-0 up. And look, it's 3-1 now, and if Spurs get another one, it might still be competitive. Stefan, I've already answered this question. United were not the City of the 90s, and the reason you would ask that question is because you were stuck up your mum's chuff then, because you don't know what happened in the 90s, and you don't know what happened in the noughties. United had proper rivalries then against clubs on a level playing field. It'd be very good to get yourself on YouTube and have a look at some of these videos comparing Wenger and Arsenal against Man United and Sir Alex. We won 3 titles in a row, and that was a prime Arsenal team that then went and won the Invincibles and won a double in 98 with a brilliant team as well. Proper rivalry that was. Here's Martinelli into the box. 15 to go. Spurs have got to up the gears here. They've got a sniff. You've got a sniff of a chance. Get a goal in the next 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes to get the equaliser. Oh, good. Richard. Oh, I don't know whether that's a foul. Not convinced by that. It's 3-1 to Arsenal at the moment. Great question by JDev. What are your thoughts on Nkunku? I forgot he existed, mate. I mean, I know Lavia has been out all season with an injury, but Chelsea have been unlucky there. I mean, it's hard to feel bad for a team that spent $1 billion, but a couple of their signings have just basically may as well have been on loan at their parent club. They just haven't played, have they? That was an offside on Richarlison, by the way. It wasn't for the foul, I don't think. Although I think Oliver had given the foul. I don't know. Hi, Mark. Do you think we will win the FA Cup? Says Michael. If you're a Man City fan, yes. Declan Rice and Richarlison. One thing about Richarlison is he'll always get involved. Spurs have got to pump it up, says the Tory. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. Constantine just ran 4 miles. Well done, mate. Fair play. I can't stand running. I don't like running for a bus. I don't like running for fun. I just don't like... The only time I'll run and don't care about it is if I'm playing five-a-side or football. I don't mind running when it's not... when I don't think about it. Like running machine. Oh, my God. It's like wiping your arse with sandpaper. I hate running. I absolutely hate it. And some people really love it. You see people on TikTok, on Instagram, I ran 6 kilometres today. And I'm like, well done. I genuinely think well done, but I just don't know how they do it. I find it so boring. Yeah, not answering that one, Tirella. Sorry. Stephen says, did you know City are dead last in the league for yellow cards? Refs are definitely in their pocket. I didn't know that, no, Stephen, no. The only thing I run's a bath, says Solid Blake. I do like a hot bath. You can't concentrate on everything though. I mean, at the moment, I've been, focusing on my sleep pattern and my diet. Yellow card for Kulusevski. Do you always say chuff, Mark, says Liam? I think chuff's a better word than fanny, vagina, or definitely the CUN word. That's just a horrible word. Cock says he bathes 3 times a day. There's nothing better than a bath when you're feeling a bit off. You know, when you're getting a bit of a cold and you start to get the shivers. Nice hot bath. Love it. But a bath can only ever be a sensory thing. It cannot be a hygiene thing. I mean, I think baths are very unhygienic because I was speaking about this on Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. When I used to play football, it used to get very muddy. We didn't have a shower. We had a bath. We didn't have a shower. Not even one of those. Well, you could have one. You could put the one on your tap if you wanted, but it's rubbish. So we only ever had a bath. So when I was growing up, you'd get in the bath and it would just be dirty straight away. So I find baths quite unhygienic. For me, I like to get into a bath clean and it's just a relaxant. It is not a hygiene thing. So I will often have a shower before the bath, clean all the orifices and everything like that, wash my hair, then I'll get into the bath for relaxation. It can't be hygiene because think about it. Think about a dirty area of your body. Could be anywhere. You wash it in a bath. Where's the dirt going? In the bath. So my advice, shower before the bath, get yourself clean, and then the bath is just a 100% sensory relaxation experience. I do not agree with a bath for hygiene. And also, never have a bath in the morning. Who wakes up in the morning and has a bath? Come on. You could have a bath, then rinse off in the shower, says Gems. Do you think you get Champions League next season, says Leonard? I think that's got to be the focus for Manchester United, yes. It's not 3-2. 10 minutes to go, still 3-1 to Arsenal. What the stats are, it's come down a little bit, but it's still very much in the favour of Arsenal. Don't forget as well, sponsored by Manscaped on the show. If you're on YouTube, you can scan the QR code or go through the link in the description. Trim their grass to make the yard look bigger. Fantastic products in male grooming. 20% off with the code FOOTY. And you get free worldwide delivery. I mean, you can just go to manscaped.com and use the code FOOTY and get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Fantastic products with Manscaped. Nasal trimmer, beard trimmer, pocket handyman, and the creme de la creme, the lawn mower. You could do it in a cupboard. That lights up your groin really, really well. From a distance as well. Still lit up. Still lit up. Still lit up. Trim the grass, make the yard look bigger. Big shout out to Manscaped. Yellow card. To be fair, thank God, fingers crossed, we haven't really had anything bad in relation to official decisions, have we? Maybe the Kulusevski one, but I think that's more on Kulusevski not going down. But we haven't really had any controversial red card penalty decisions. Aiden has a bath after a workout. It's just a sweat bath. $18, thank you very much for the follow on TikTok. It's not 4-1 either, it's still 3. Yeah, you get all this sort of education. Not only is this a football watch-along, it's a lesson in life. For example, we spoke about this a few weeks ago. In the shower, I can't believe people face the wall. Always back to the wall in the shower. So if the shower head's there and the exit's there, I'm facing the exit. I'm not facing the wall. A lot of people face the wall. Backs to the door. No. It's a bloody nightmare. You're already wet. You might already be soapy. And then someone can come in behind you. No thanks. I'll be facing the wall. No, I won't be facing the wall. I will be my back will be to the wall in the shower. Thank you very much. Jack says he faces the side. Why not? Why not? It's not about north-south. There's east and west as well. Maybe you do it sideways on. Is it okay to pee in the shower? Well, it's going straight down the... I don't have a problem with it. I suppose it's how confident you are if you want to stand facing the door. Another one might be a bit controversial. When you're brushing your teeth, warm water. It's got to be warm water. Some people put the toothpaste on and then use cold water. Do you wash your hands with cold water? You use warm water. Do you use cold water in your sink when you're washing the pots? Does a dishwasher use cold water? Does a tumble dryer use cold water? No. So why are you using cold water on your teeth? Warm water gets it cleaner. The amount of people that don't realise that is incredible. Seven minutes to go. I think Arsenal are going to get this job done. And again, the only reason there was a little bit of a hint of a chance for Spurs in this was because of a mistake by Raya. What have Spurs actually done to score a goal without being gifted one? They just can't get back into this game against this impregnable Arsenal defence. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
What is it?
I got it's loungewear that you can wear instead of pyjamas.
Oh, you've got a badge on there as well.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Is that a hint to play PlayStation?
No.
Oh, right. You can in about 10.
Okay.
Probably. That's what we'll be doing this afternoon. We'll be playing wrestling instead of watching Forest get dicked by Man City. That's a penalty. Well, that's a penalty. That's surely a penalty. They're going to give a penalty for this. He's going to go. Yeah, he's going to give a penalty for that. Yeah. Penalty to Spurs, that. That is a penalty. Again, it's a bit like the Anana one yesterday, isn't it? I feel bad for Rice because he's trying to kick a ball away. He's genuinely gone to kick the ball, but we've seen them given before. 100%. He's unlucky. Kicked a different ball. Pros and cons about Dublin, says the individual. I only see the pros. I love Dublin. Love it. If I could go there like every weekend, I would. I love it. It's one of my favourite places in the world. I love Dublin. And look, I want to visit a lot more places, but I love Dublin. But I don't know whether everybody... I mean, I just love it. But 100% penalty. Got no problem about that. Do a poll. Cold water or warm water when cleaning your teeth. I've done it before, Robbo. They'll all go cold. Trippo, thanks for the follow. Mark, thank you very much for becoming a member. Has the referee had a good game, Mark, says Luke. DMX had a dream about me soaping him. Don't take a bath with my missus, says Constantine. Well, if this goes in, I mean, imagine, I don't really understand how Arsenal would blow a 3-0 lead, but that's football. Goal from Son. Goal from Son. Check out my latest tweet, by the way. It's not lost on me. It's amazing how this referee goes to VAR and gives that as a penalty, but didn't give the Doku one on McAllister. Same referee. The fact is, they're both penalties. I'm not saying that that's not a penalty, but that's the same referee that didn't give the Doku one on McAllister for the same thing. Like, Mark, warm water on your teeth makes plaque come back quicker than since they like warm, says Wardo. Okay. I don't want no. I don't. Look, I already get into trouble with the RSPCA. I don't want to get involved in trouble with the dentists. Yeah, Richarlison should be getting booked there. This could be a very interesting last 10 minutes because I think he's going to add on about 10 as well. You'd fancy Spurs to get a chance, wouldn't you? He's bringing a defender on. What I would say is if Spurs get a 3-3 draw out of this, it's weird. Like, it's not like it's been a Chelsea comeback against Villa. Like, I don't think Spurs have even played very well. It's just that a mistake by Raya, a penalty where really it is a penalty, but you can see why Rice has done it. And then, well, if they get the equaliser, it would be incredible. Do you think the charges against Man City will stick, says Jeff? No, I've never thought that they would. I've said that. It's only my opinion, but I've never thought they would. Brighton are losing 3-0. Getting tonked again. Saka wins a corner. Why has he took Odegaard off, says Atty. I don't know. Please do subscribe if you're tuning in on YouTube. Thanks on TikTok, Olek, for the follow. Appreciate that. We're only 10 subscribers away from 146,000. Don't bottle it, says Gabrielle. Dreams can come true. Saka with the corner. Oh, off the line. Brilliant defending by Van der Ven. Off the line from another corner. Mustafa says, any advice for a struggling uni student? Get a job. Presuming it's financial struggle. Might be other struggles. If it is, let us know. I'll give you more advice. Mark. I don't know what you're talking about there, Tirilla. I can't read your comments. You're being very... He's only added 6 minutes. Genuinely think there should have been more than 6. Biggest question in life. Pineapple and banana in pizza. Yes or no? Pineapple, yes. Banana, no. Six minutes is good for Arsenal. To hang on here. Well, I say hang on. It's not like... I can't remember Spurs having a big chance in the second half. I know they scored 2 goals, but... Here's Son. You feel that surely they will. Raya's got to get that, and he does. Still time, still time. Gary Neville would love Arsenal to concede. He'll love it. It's not 3-3. The ball's with Raya at the moment. Oscar says, how did Richarlison stay on with that on Gabriel? Arsenal got a free kick here. Robbo says Neville is licking his lips at City beating Forest later. I was talking about this on the United stand earlier. I do think that some of our ex-players actually don't want United to win. I don't. I think it. I don't know it, but I do think it. They're so negative. They don't seem to get any joy at all. Maybe when you've played for a club, you do get a little bit like that. Oh, free kick. Spurs are going to get a chance to whip a cross in. 3 minutes to go. Get your big men up. Get your centre-backs up. Imagine Arsenal fans' arse right now will be twitching like a bunny's nose. Even I would sit here and say I don't know how it's gone from 3-0 to 3-3. I mean, that's the lovely thing about football, isn't it? I don't think Spurs have done anything really genius in the second half. They're going to get a corner here as well. But I don't think Spurs have done anything great in the second half. A mistake, a penalty. And that's why I'd be worried if I was Arsenal, because surely Spurs won't go 45 minutes at home without creating a big chance. Headed away. No, not headed away. Now it's headed away. Spurs players trying to win a free kick. Well, it would be a penalty, actually. Good play by Vicario. Still 2 minutes to go. Sneeze coming in. Should have told you before, actually. Son, you've got to whip the cross in here, mate. Someone's got to whip the cross in. Don't want to be central. I just feel... I'm not going to say it. 2 minutes to go. Spurs on the attack. They've got to work something here. Son. Into the box. Oh, edge of the box. Makes a mistake. And now Havertz is through. He's not got the pace, though. Good. I mean, Van der Ven's very quick there. That could have been a problem. Hopefully he's not injured. He's gone down. About a minute to go. There'll be a little bit more than a minute, if I'm being honest, because there's been a bit of stoppage time. Spurs back in the same situation again. Edge of the box. Probe. Kulusevski. Little dink into Lo Celso. Kulusevski again. Into Johnson. He's got to dink it. It's a good header. And it goes for a corner. Last minute of the game. How do United keep missing gems like Van der Ven? Says Alex. I know. Very good. Very good. Vicario's come up for the corner as well. That's what Blake says on Twitter. Get the keeper up. And he's right on the keeper as well. Headed away. Headed away. Good play. Kulusevski. Martinelli wins the throw-in. Sorry, Spurs get the throw-in. Son, he's got to whip that in. It's a decentish cross. Ooh, I tell you what. Fair play to Raya, knowing where his post was then. Has he blown the whistle on 96 dead on? He's blown the whistle on 96 dead on. Look. I don't want to be controversial here, but I think this should have been longer than 6 minutes anyway, and he's blown it on 6 minutes, bang on. Anyway, big win for Arsenal. I think they deserved it, really, because I don't think Spurs did enough. I'll tell you what, Arsenal fans will be very grateful to Michael Oliver for blowing up bang on 6 minutes there, and only giving 6 minutes. But I think across the game, Arsenal did deserve it. If you think about it, Spurs had a penalty and a goal gifted by Raya. But they'd have took any win today, Arsenal and Spurs. But big win for Arsenal. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? I still think Man City will win every single game, but Arsenal are making a fist of it. That's what it's all about. I'm going to do a match reaction. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Absolute legends. I'm on the United stand at 7 o'clock tonight if you want to tune in on YouTube for that. Take care, stay safe, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.